Oh, I'm not on there. Hold on one second. Okay. Oops. Having problems with my camera right now. Of course. Of course, right? But anyway, I hope everyone is having an amazing night, like I said. So at first I wasn't even gonna go live, but I'm bored. I'm actually really bored. So I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys. And you know what? I figured this would be a good subject to talk about, obviously, given the things that are going on. Hey, Boston. Hey, Vivian. Hey, Dave. Given the things that have been going on, you know, I figured, okay, well, this is a good thing to talk about. And I talk about it a lot, like I refer to it a lot, but I've never really told you guys my story. So, and I really feel like I'm always running behind with everything. So I'm so sorry, you guys. My kids are on one today. But I just felt like this is something that I refer to a lot, and I talk to you guys about it, but I never actually told you guys my story. So I wanted to tell you guys my story, and I really do think that there are moments in your life that define you, no matter what age you are, obviously. Even though this happened in high school, it really prepared me for my life. I was definitely one of those people that always would be like, why is this happening to me? Things like that. And sometimes even feeling sorry for myself. And most of those times that I was feeling sorry for myself was because I was going through that alone, because the majority of the time that I was bullied, I never told my mom. I didn't tell my mom until, when did I tell my mom? In 10th grade. So I went through it for about a year, and then that's when I told my mom in 10th grade. So about a year, I kind of just went through it alone. And I would question, like, why is this happening? Like, how come everybody else can have a normal high school year, but I can't? And now, obviously, I know better than to question anything that God does. But, when you're a teenager, you don't think like that. And obviously, this does have a lot to do with not just myself, but other people who are still being bullied till this day, right? So that's why I felt like, okay, what should I talk about tonight? What should I come on here and talk about? And I just felt like this story was fitting because like I said, I refer to it a lot. So we're going to have story time. And for anybody who wants to come up and vent, I will open the panel. But I don't want this to be a really long live because obviously it's late. So let's get started. I'll come on camera in a minute as soon as I figure out what the hell is going on with this stupid camera. Okay, I shouldn't say stupid, but it's giving me problems today. I hate that you went through it that long. Yeah, it was a long time, but I just felt like not embarrassed to tell my mom, kind of, because I know how my mom is in a lot of ways. I know how she was. So I think I didn't want to tell her because I knew what she was going to say and I knew what she was going to do. And she ended up doing something similar to that, but in a lot of ways the opposite, because my mom was never like that type of person to go to the police. But in that moment, when I tell you the story, but in that moment, she felt like it was necessary. And thank God I told her, and thank God she stepped in, because if she hadn't stepped in, who would have known what would have happened, right? Hold on, let me get my mouse. All opinions are welcome. Like I said, if anybody wants to vent, and I'm sure there's some people who do, I will open up the panel. I keep dropping stuff. And the eyebrow tutorial I'll do tomorrow. I totally forgot about that. I totally forgot about the eyebrow tutorial. Okay. Let me hook my camera up. Hold on, you guys. I gotta get my stand. Totally unprepared here. Of course. But that's my life. Hey, Angela. How are you doing, sweetie? Hey, Allie. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Hey, Tara. How are you, sweetheart? Hey, Truth Telling. Okay. Here we go. Just make sure it doesn't fall over. Okay, I think it's secure. Hopefully the damn thing doesn't fall over. Let me pull up my YouTube. Let me pull up my YouTube. Hopefully it doesn't give me any problems because I just cannot deal with it. Okay. Okay. So the one thing that I think all of you guys need to know is that when it comes to bullying, there's always that one, right? That's like the leader of the pack. Let me turn this up a little bit. There's always that one that's like the leader of the pack, the one that leads it all and kind of starts it all. And this particular girl, and this was in 8th grade. In 8th grade, everybody, we were all friends, like one big happy family in 8th grade. Everybody got along. Everybody was good. We used to go skating together and everything like that. And there was this one particular girl that I was friends with. And out of all of us, it was like we were all a team. We were all just the best of friends, all of us. I was the new girl in school. So everyone just welcomed me with open arms and we all got along. And then one thing that was always very noticeable to me, and don't get me wrong, I thought it was awesome, but at that age, you don't think that you're I was young. At that age, you don't think that you're pretty or anything like that. We're all insecure at that age. Hey, executive session. Hey, broken justice. We're all, when we're young, we don't think of ourselves. But there was always this one in particular girl that used to always say, you are so, beautiful. You are so gorgeous, blah, 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 blah. And I always thought it was sweet. She was just the sweetest. Now remember, one day I was at her house and it was me, her parents, and her boyfriend, this one particular girl. I'm not going to say any names, of course. And I guess her boyfriend started liking me, but I didn't give a shit. At that age, I didn't care. Oh, thanks for the super sticker, executive session. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. I guess her boyfriend ended up liking me or whatever, but I didn't like him, but she was mad at me, but we still remained friends, she still remained with that guy, but we still remained friends, and we were friends all summer. I will never forget. I was in California, me and my mom, and we were visiting my brother. And I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but she actually tried to call me that night. And that's when when the pagers were in, I had a pager, and she left me a message on my voicemail and said, hey, I wanted to see what homeroom that you're in, because this was 8th grade and we were all going into high school. And she's like, I wanted to see what homeroom you're in. And I told her, and she's like, okay, see you on the first day of school. And I'm like, okay, that's yay. I can't wait to see you. And my first day of school, literally, oh, thank you, executive session. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you. My first day of school, she looked at me, and I went to go say hi to her because I was really excited to see her. I thought everything was cool. I went to say hi to her, and she turned her head and rolled her eyes. And then there was a group of girls that we were all friends with, and I went to go say hi to them, and they turned their head. So I'm like, okay. So then I just was like, okay, maybe they just didn't want to say hi to me at that time. Welcome, Cheryl. I guess they just didn't want to say hi to me at that time. So that was my first day. And I guess that should have been my sign, right? And I'll never forget, I seen her in the bathroom, and it was just me and her in the bathroom. And as I'm walking in, I'm like, hey. She's like, oh, hey. And she's like, did you tell me what homeroom that you were in? And I'm like, yeah, I told you. I'm like, I was trying to say hi to you in the hallway. And she's like, oh, yeah, I didn't see you. And then she just walked away. So I could tell that she was just like, didn't want to talk to me. And I'm not going to sit there and try to talk to somebody that didn't want to talk to me. So I would talk to, some of my other friends. There were other friends that I had, from junior high that still talk to me. So I would, talk to them or whatever. And as school kept going on, it kept getting worse. But I think the first week I was just in shock. And then there would be those times, like I would be walking down the hall and they'd be like, look at that bitch, or look at what she's wearing, or, oh, now she's wearing makeup. Because that's when my mom started letting me get really into makeup. Okay. And yeah, I was going overboard. It was my 9th. I was a freshman. I was going overboard. And it would just be it was probably a group of like 10 or 11. Sometimes it would accumulate because anybody new, like if there was a new girl that came into school that gravitated to me, they would talk to that person and turn that girl against me in some way, shape, or form. Okay. So as school progressed, like I said, it would just get worse, and I would have the 2 or 3 friends that I had, that stuck by me. But even the two or three friends that I had, there was actually my one friend I'll never forget. She was the sweetest to me. She was actually threatened not to be my friend. Literally, anybody who was my friend, they would somehow, there was only two friends that was strong enough to be friends with me. You know what I mean? That was strong enough to say, I don't care what they say, Tia. They're just jealous. It's okay. And of course, I'll never forget, there was one time when one day my two friends didn't come to school. So I literally would not go to lunch. Anytime my two friends weren't there, I wouldn't go to lunch. There would be times that if they were all in the bathroom, because sometimes they would see me and they would all go in the bathroom, and I guess they probably thought, okay, she's going to the bathroom. I would not go to the bathroom if all of them were in there. High school, the first year and a half, not the first year and a half, but the first year going into my 10th grade year was miserable. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It was miserable. I wouldn't go to different parties. I wouldn't go skating anymore, which I used to love to skate, but they all were always together. And I would find out some way or somehow that they would be there. So I wouldn't go skating. I was afraid sometimes to wear certain outfits because I knew that they were going to talk about me. One thing that they never did, though, no matter how much they talked about my makeup, no matter how much they talked about my hair, that never changed. I never cared. I just felt so alone. You know what I mean? I felt so alone. I felt like everyone was against me. The one out of the two friends that were loyal to me, don't get me wrong, I had acquaintances in high school that sometimes I would sit with at lunch and things like that. But the two friends, or the three friends that I had, they ended up turning one that I really cared about against me. And I'll never forget, there was this new girl in school. And she just gravitated to me. She's like, oh, I love your hair. I love your makeup, blah, 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 blah. And we were friends for a good week. And I confided in her. I told her, how sad I was and how I felt so alone and how everyone, I felt like everyone was against me and I didn't understand, and just confided in her as I thought was a friend, even though I had only known her for like a week. And somehow or some way, they ended up getting to her, and she ended up telling them every single thing that I told her. And because of that, they would make fun of me. They'd say, you deserve it. You're a horrible person. You're the biggest bitch. You're fake. Don't ever let me catch you. If I see you anywhere, I'm going to cut up your face. Bad things are going to happen to you. I would always get threats. I was always very afraid to go places. Like my high school, the first couple years or the first year and a half, whatever, was just horrible. And it shouldn't have been that way. I should have been able to go places and, just have fun, just enjoy life. And my mother knew something was going on. She knew, but she didn't pressure me, because you know how teenagers are. They're afraid to talk. They are moody. They're in that transition, of being, very hormonal, especially teenage girls. Like, especially now, I can't even imagine what teenage girls now go through. I just, my mother would just say, Tia, whenever you're ready to talk to me, I'm here. I know there's something going on. My grades started slipping. And once my grades started slipping, my mom's like, look, whatever it is that is going on, you need to tell me, because it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. The two friends that I actually did have, they were cool, but I still didn't trust them, because once the one friend that I was friends with for a long time turned against me, because she was threatened, but either or, she still could have stood her ground. I didn't trust the two friends that I had left. And sometimes I would go, there was this place that all of us teenagers went to, like a dance club, and it was called the Silver Dollar. And the only time I would go is if I knew that they weren't going. And one time they made sure that it was spread to me that they weren't going, but they ended up all being there. And I'll never forget, I was looking fly that night, okay? But I'll never forget when I was dancing with this guy, the girl behind me, obviously they were always in a group, but there was always the one that would start it. She threw a glass of pop on me. And I turned around and he was like, it was her. And when I turned around, they were all standing there. And then the security guards came, because at that point I'm like, fuck this. I'm about to do something here. I'm about to do something. She ain't about to throw no glass of water or no glass of pop on me. But the security guards ended up coming or whatever. And I think my breaking point happened when one day, because my mother was always late, just like me. Tia time. But anyway, I was waiting for my mother to pick me up, because we only lived about 10 minutes away from school. So I was a walker/rider, and I was waiting for my mother to pick me up, and I was standing there. And I think that group of girls, they usually took the bus. And don't worry, I'll be reading all of your comments when I'm done. But they took the bus. So I wasn't expecting for them to be there. I don't know why all of them were there. And it was just me standing there looking out, standing by the doors, waiting for my mother to come. And in their little group, the leader was like, she turns around, she's like, look at that bitch. I seriously want to hurt her. And they all just stood there. And there was this guy that liked me, that was trying to talk to me at the time. And while he was standing there trying to talk to me, they called him over and literally tortured me in front of him. And I liked this guy too. They tortured me. She's this, she's that. Why would you want to be with her? She's so ugly. She's this, she's that. And just saying horrible, mean, nasty things that don't deserve to even be repeated. And that was the first time, and not necessarily because of this guy. I think it was just a multitude of so many things. I broke. I'm not going to lie. I broke. That was the first time that I was able to stand tall in front of them on my own. But at that point, the horrible, nasty things that they were saying to this guy, I broke. And my mom came to pick me up. And I'll never forget, as soon as I got in the car, she could see that I was crying. And I'm like, Mom, and I just broke. I'm like, I can't take it. And I was screaming and very just traumatized at some of the stuff they were saying. Sitting there just saying she's a hoe, and I was a virgin. I'm like, what the, you know what I mean? And of course, thinking back, this guy was in a bad position. He was just like, why are you guys, and guys know, like, there were some guys that liked me in school that would actually go along with the pack and be like, she's fake, she's this, just because, even though they knew that they liked me, but they would just go along with it. But then there would be some guys that would be like, you guys are just fucking jealous of her. Like, get over it. There would be some guys that would say that. But this guy was just in shock. He was just like, he didn't know what to say. He was speechless. And I remember talking to him a couple days, because I didn't go to school the day after that. I remember talking to him after that, and he's like, I was in shock. He's like, I literally never seen females bash one female that horribly before. Like he literally admitted that to me. And when I got in the car and I started crying and breaking down, and I couldn't take it anymore. There's a breaking point. Like I told you guys, when it comes to bullies, that was my breaking point. And I remember my mom was like, who's doing this? Who's doing this? And I'm trying to get it out to her, and I couldn't. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my mother guessed who it was. She knew. She's like, I know this was the girl that you were friends with that used to always tell you how pretty you were, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? She was jealous of you the whole time. She was. Even though she was telling you that she thought you were gorgeous, she was still jealous. And her jealousy turned into something dangerous. That's what my mother explained to me. And as my mother's talking to me, that one girl that was the leader of the pack was right in front of us as my mom was driving. Oh, Lord. And she's like, is that her? Is that the girl? Because the girl turned around. And as the girl turned around, somehow, I don't know why she turned around, she looked and started laughing. And my mom's like, is that her? And she's like, that's the girl. I knew it because my mom guessed. So my mom followed her. And I guess they knew that my mother was following them. And it was that girl, the leader of the pack. And I guess maybe it was her aunt. I don't know who it was. It was an older lady. And I know it wasn't her mother because I've seen the girl's mother before. But it was an older lady, and I guess they knew because my mom was riding right on their bumper, and the lady pulled over, and she got out of the car, and so did the bully. She got out of the car too, and the lady got out of the car like, why are you following us? They said that to my mom, and she's like, whoever she is to you is bullying the shit out of my daughter. Okay, and I think my mother did this all on purpose, to be honest with you. My mother was probably the most highly intelligent woman I've ever seen. She was very streetwise, too. She was rare. She was one of those types that was very streetwise, but also highly intellectual. And when she did that, I think she did it for a reason. But my mother just started yelling. She's like, that girl is bullying my daughter. What a coincidence that you guys ended up right in front of me. She looked at the girl. She's like, let's go do something here. I thought, are you guys going to fight? Blah, 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 blah. And then the aunt started flipping out and going off my mother. My mother was like, you don't even want none of this. You don't even want none of this. And then the bully literally looked at my mother and said, I will cut your daughter's face up right in front of you. And my mother literally looked at her and she said, Tia, get in the car. Got in the car, and the bully was standing right in front of my mother's car, and so was the other lady, and they're talking shit. And my mother went and was about to run them over, like literally about to run them over. And they went, they're both separate ways. And my mother's like, we're going to the police. I'm like, no, Mom, no, that's just going to make everything worse. She's like, no, we are going to the police. And we went to the police. We filed a police report. And guess what they tried to do? They tried to file a police report too, but we beat them to the punch. So not the next day, because my mom kept me out of school. She even called the school and said, I'm worried for my daughter's life. I cannot believe that you guys let this go on. Even though I didn't tell anyone. And I told my mother, I'm like, you can't blame the school. She's like, no, She's like, once your grades start slipping, once they seen sometimes that you weren't going into the lunchroom, once they started, you can't tell me, in my mother's eyes, she's like, you can't tell me that nobody's seen nothing. She's like, Tia, that's not going to work with me. She's like, she called the school. Sorry, you guys. He's making too much noise. Okay. But she called the school and she told them, she's like, my daughter has been bullied, threatened, harassed in this school for the past year and a half by the same girl. So she kept me out of school. And then the next day, the principal had my mother and myself in the office. And then they also got the bully and her mother in the office. And they were mad. The mother was defending her daughter. Okay. The mother was defending her daughter, saying that my daughter never said she was going to cut up your face. I said, yes, she did. She told everybody she was going to. And like my mother said, she said it to me. Okay. And the mother literally had her daughter's back to the fullest. And I guess I can understand that's her daughter, but no, if your child is being, if you as a parent is defending your child, I guess it really was our word against hers. But at the end of the day, this is my mother looking at her as an adult, trying to talk to her woman to woman and tell her, look, your daughter has been bullying my daughter. There's no reason for me to make this up. And then the mother showed her true colors, because my mom flipped out and started saying some really mean things. And she's like, you're trash. Your mentality is trash. And then the mother threatens my mother and told my mother, well, we'll just see about that outside. My mother's like, okay, I'll meet you outside. As soon as I'm done talking to the principal, I'll meet you outside. And the principal gave me another day off. And the mother told the principal that she's really upset that we went to the cops before she did, because my mother tried to run her daughter over with a car. Of course, my mother was like, look, I really wasn't going to do it, but what would you do if you were told that your daughter is going to be cut up and jumped, and literally saying that you're going to beat the shit out of your daughter? What if that was being told to you? What would you do? My mother was just mad. I'm not saying that my mother handled it the best way, but I'm her daughter. I'm her only daughter. And this isn't something that she wanted for me. And there were times that, like, I wanted to go to homecoming, but I knew they were all going to be there. So I didn't go to homecoming my 9th and 10th grade year because of them. Not 10th grade, but, well, yeah, 10th grade too. Because it was mid-year in 10th grade when this happened. But my mother just wanted it to stop. And my mother is looking at this mother, talking to her like an adult. And this woman is making excuses and saying, well, your daughter, it thinks she's all that. Or I don't know what her excuse was, but just like my mother said, your daughter has been harassing and bullying my daughter for years. They were friends in 8th grade. And then all of a sudden, I'm telling you, your daughter has a problem. And obviously now, like my mother said, we see what the problem is. You're defending this. You can't just sit here and say, okay, you tried to run my daughter over with a car. Well, guess what? My mother looked at her and said, I'm sorry for that. But what would you do? What would you do if you were in my position and my daughter looked at you and said, I'm going to cut your daughter's face up? What would you do? No, my mother didn't handle it in the best way, but I think more or less they were so mad. And this was the first time that the bully, the daughter, wasn't saying shit. All she said was, I never said I was going to cut your face up. And my mother was like, now you're calling me a liar, you know? The principal didn't know what the hell to do. The principal was just kind of like, what? Because, and even my mom said, she's like, these kinds of things are happening in your school. And she's like, my mom's like, bitching at the principal, bitching at the mother, saying something's got to give here, because no child should ever, no teenager should ever have to go through bullying and harassment. And you can't tell me that a counselor or somebody didn't see something. And ultimately, when my mom went to go meet her outside, because my mom was like, come on, I'm going outside now. You're coming? She didn't do anything. She just walked away. But I think at that moment, this is when the mother had to have lectured her daughter and had to have told her, because there's a police report out there, you're in trouble now. Okay? If something happens to that girl, even if you guys were to fight, if something happens to her, you're going to jail. Okay? You're going to the juvenile justice, whatever. I'm sure her mother had to have lectured her, because that's when it stopped. If you see something, say something. That's I agree. And like I said, that had to have been the time where her mother lectured her, because it stopped. They didn't even look my way. Of course, they would make Snickers and they would, like, you know, grin or something or roll their eyes at me. But the bullying itself stopped. They, you know, quit looking my way. And that's when things started getting better for me. I mean, they would still be that type, almost like that mob mentality or whatever, that if there was any type of new person in school, or if I would make new friends, they would still do those things where they'd be like, don't talk to her, she's this, she's that. But they still left me alone. The bullying stopped, the harassment stopped, the threatening, the threats stopped. And that's when school started getting easier. Was I the S word? I don't want to say the whole thing, but was I did I feel as though I wanted to harm myself? Sometimes, yes. I'm not going to lie. There would be some times where it would get really bad, because I just felt so alone. But no matter how alone I felt, I knew that that wasn't the answer. And to be honest with you, I felt like that's what they wanted. All I can say about bullying is that feeling never goes away. Like, that's a feeling that I will never forget for the rest of my life. And that's why I'm so sensitive with it, you guys. Like, and that's why I'm so protective over people who get bullied, because I know how it feels. And I'm not crying because I'm not getting teary-eyed because of anything else, except for I don't think anybody should have to feel that way and should have to feel so alone. And that happens not just in high school. These kind of things happen every day with people. And the fact that I know that maybe one day my kids are going to have to go through that, and that there are adults that are going through this. Nobody deserves to feel that way, you guys. Nobody. Especially as a teenager. So all I'm saying is that these kind of feelings don't go away. They don't just disappear. You have to take other people's feelings into consideration. I don't ever want to see nobody go through that kind of pain. Nobody. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. So thank you guys. Damn it, I don't have no tissue. But it's just something that I feel strongly about. And I will do whatever it takes for nobody else to have to feel that way. Thank you, Boston. I don't even have nothing to use. Thank you, Boston. Thank you guys for the hearts. I appreciate it. It's a horrible feeling to feel. And I don't want anybody to have to feel that way, ever. But go. Yes. It made me stronger, you guys. It made me resilient. I can deal with that kind of stuff. I can deal with the bully. I don't care because I've been through it. You know what I'm saying? But if I sit there and think about somebody else going through it, it's hurtful. It's hurtful to me. And that's why I feel so strongly about it. And why I'm so sensitive to it and why I feel like I have to go hard for it, because you have to understand that you don't know what people are going through when you say bad things or when you insult them, when you insult their looks, when you say horrible things. You don't know what they're going through. And you don't know what could happen when you're saying these horrible things. I believe God prepares us for our destiny. And I feel like God prepared me for this. This right here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And hold on. So well said. I was bullied by adults growing up. I was popular at school, but all the teachers and parents judged me because of who my father was. It hurt so bad. Yeah, that's horrible, Larry. I'm sorry that you went through that. My mother told me you never start it, ever, never start trouble, but you just better finish it. And she meant it, and it made me stand up to the ones that are the bullies. Right. I agree. Don't be sorry for having empathy. You are a light in this community, and it's much needed. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. And it's not that I'm crying. Thank you guys so much for the hearts and the amazing comments. It's not that I'm upset and crying because of, what I went through. I've already cried enough for that when I was younger. But when I think about how I felt, and then I think that somebody else has to feel that and endure that, it's not right. If you don't like somebody, fine. Don't like them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to like a damn thing about that person. But you go your way, okay? Deuces. You don't have to acknowledge a person that you don't like. But when you start bullying, when you start bashing, when you start talking about people and their looks, like my fiance said earlier, people hurt themselves for that. Okay? People do horrible things to themselves for that. And people have to start being more aware of the things that you say. You have to. And, of course there would be times that I would talk shit about those girls that bullied me. What else could I have done? Or I'd say something to somebody that I thought I can trust and they'd go back and say something. It was a never ending cycle of jealous girls that tried to break me, and they never broke me. Until that moment, because like I said, everyone has a breaking point. But like I said, it made me resilient. I don't care if people talk about my brows or my makeup. If I cared, then I wouldn't be here right now. If I cared, then I wouldn't continue to do my makeup the way I do. If I cared, I wouldn't be the person that I am today if I cared about the shit that people say about my looks. But what I do care about is other people who are not, and it doesn't mean you're not strong, but I care about other people who are not resilient in that way. Just because a person says, I can't deal with this. This is so hard. This is affecting my mental health, or that doesn't make them weak. Okay? That doesn't make them weak. It makes them sensitive. Some people are more sensitive than others. And when you say these types of things, you have to keep in mind that there are so many people out there that you don't know how sensitive they are. You don't know what their breaking point is. And if you continue, do you want to be the person that is responsible for why that person did what they did? Now, of course, if somebody was to hurt themselves over that, there is other deeper issues. But you are the one that brought that person to their breaking point, when it didn't have to be that way. If you don't like somebody, then don't like them. But why bash them? Why talk about them? Why talk about their looks or their hair or their make? Like, what does that make you? And what's worse is when there is not just you who's doing the bashing, there is a whole bunch of people following you saying the same thing that you're saying the same thing that you're saying, but it's 200, 300, 400 people saying the same things or whatever. You just have to be careful. You have to be more aware of how you treat people. You just have to. And I think what made me so emotional is no teenager deserves to go through that. No adult, nobody deserves to go through that kind of pain of feeling so alone and feeling like you're just the worst person in the world. Because sometimes when people say things so much, you start to believe it. Like, what's wrong with me? There's so many things that go in your head when you're getting bullied. There's just so many things. But obviously there's more to the story, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And I don't wish that pain on nobody, you guys. I just don't. And that's why I feel so strongly about it. And that's why even when that, whoever the hell her name is, Voices, was talking about my brows, and she's been talking about me for weeks and I haven't said anything. And the only reason why I chose to say something is because I'm like, how does she know that I have brows? What if I don't have them and I draw them on? Or what if somebody else is offended because they can't grow brow hairs? Whatever the situation is, like, You have no right. People are going to do whatever the fuck they want to do, right? But at the end of the day, what is the point? Okay? To get a reaction out of me, did you think that I was going to go and just start bashing you because you bashed me? Or I just don't get it. And I know that bullies are the type that putting other people down make them feel better about themselves. Seriously, when you're dealing with a bully, there's a deeper issue that's going on with that bully as well. There's something deeper going on that makes that bully want to be a bully, right? But I just and it's not like it's getting better, because it's not. Like I said, Lizzo was literally just on Instagram bawling her eyes out because of all the names that she was called, because she happens to be a heavier set woman, and people, and she's a confident heavier set woman, and people are bashing her and talking about her and saying horrible things about her and making racist comments, and she had a breaking point, and she's a celebrity. Okay, I'm going to open up the panel for anybody who wants to talk for a minute, and then we'll wrap it up. But you guys have been amazing. It's not easy to talk about these kinds of things. It's just not. But I'm glad I did. What the hell am I doing? Sharing my damn screen. I just get so upset. And my heart, I definitely look at myself as an empath, and my heart just aches for anyone who's going through being bullied. It just aches because I know how it feels, and it's horrible. It's just a horrible feeling. And I think sometimes when I think about God, how do we protect our kids from going through this? How do we, how do we do that? I don't want my kids to go through that, but you know what? I'm sure they will, and it hurts my heart. Hey, Heather.
Hey, babe, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. Thanks. I just wanted to thank you for sharing your story. And I think I would be surprised if there were many people in this chat that can say that they weren't bullied at some point in their life or another.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
To kind of piggyback on what you were talking about, and take, for instance, the school shootings. A lot of the kids that have ended up shooting up schools have been bullied, and that was the thing. That was their excuse or reasoning.
Yeah.
And it's how many, it's not just a person taking their life, it's a person taking innocent life. Or even if say, for instance, like the Stoneman Douglas shooting, they target kids that have bullied them. But
yeah,
the Sandy Hook one will just always gut me when I think about it, because
I know, it's so sad. Wait, that the Sandy Hook one, was that because they were being bullied too? I can't remember.
It was by a 20-year-old kid. I don't, gosh,
We lost her. She'll be back. It must have been her connection or something. I will definitely, Team Psych Ward, I will definitely read that. It says, Tia, read the story of Megan Meyer. Her story is what I'm seeing on YouTube with these women, 40 plus years of age. Thank you for sharing your story. What voices said totally was horrible. Thank you so much, Team Psych Word. I really appreciate that. I will definitely check that out. Any of you, there are comments my mods are putting, like, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody or whatever, you can talk to me too if you want. But I'm just saying that they're putting 1-800 numbers in the comments. Thank you to my mods. And what were you saying, Heather?
Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked myself out like a big dum
That's
dum.
okay.
Um, yeah, I don't honestly remember. I feel like the person that shot at Sandy Hook, I think they were young as well. I mean, the first one that I remember or like really felt affected by was the Columbine,
Yeah,
and what was it, three kids with that one, and they were all,
yeah,
really bullied and made fun of.
yeah,
And I think back to my high school days, and we had kids just like that,
yeah.
that would wear the trench coats and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I, and people
Would make
picked on
fun.
them
Yeah,
relentlessly. And
yep.
so I thank God that our high school never had to experience something like that. But I don't know. I think the best thing we can do as parents is talk to our kids and try to make them better humans,
Right.
because if they become an ally or if they see somebody being bullied and they stand up to them, like if more people did that, then the good people are going to outnumber the bullies.
I
And
agree.
that's, honestly what I'm hoping happens here on YouTube, that eventually people will get tired of it and
And
the
that's what I'm
good,
saying for adults. Like, this is happening with
yeah,
adults too, you know?
exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I just appreciate your story, and I would, I just hope people do better, and,
Me
you
too.
know,
Me too,
so
because like I said, something's got to give, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I definitely consider myself as an empath, and
yeah,
seeing these kinds of things go on is really heartbreaking, and that's why I got emotional, because I just don't want people to feel like that. I don't want
yeah,
people to feel like um, they're worthless, or that they're a horrible person, and sometimes when people say that so much, you start to think it.
you give it. Yeah. Oh my
And it's
gosh. I
not
just,
just with teenagers, it's with adults
for
too.
sure. I'll tell you a quick story. I can laugh now, but it was not funny. When I was a kid, I was in, let's see, fifth grade, and I
Hmm.
started becoming like, just kind of pudgy, and I hadn't really hit that growth spurt yet, and I had
Hmm.
big, ugly, thick Coke bottle glasses. Like my
Oh
mom dressed me
God.
funny. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, my dad cut my bangs real short once. So anyway, kids would bully the shit out of me because I was bigger than a lot of them. Um, but looking back, like I wasn't even big. Like I was a size 12, which,
Right.
maybe to a size 6, that's that, but whatever. So my mom would pick me up at this bus stop, and as I was getting off the bus one day, this kid had stuck his foot out in the aisle and tripped me and made me fall. And then when the bus was taking off, he's like, "Bye, Miss Piggy." And my
Oh.
mom heard him. She followed the fucking bus. And then she proceeded to get out of her car and get on it and scream at the kids at the next bus stop. And I was just like, oh. Dude, in high school, I still had people like, remember that time your mom got on the school bus and screamed at everybody? And I'm like, yes, I fucking remember. But
Hmm.
like, I can laugh now, but God bless your mom for sticking up for you. And yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't
I don't know what I would have done without her, for her to step in and actually, say it. And that's definitely a huge point. Like, don't tell me nobody's seen anything. Don't tell me that this,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of people are quiet, like just they see, but they don't want to say anything, right?
Right. Yep.
And that's not good. If you see it, say something.
Say it. Yeah.
Even if someone, because of course I would never have done it, but even if somebody would have told, I think I have went to a counselor before though. I think I did go to a counselor, um, but and I remember my friend one time had told my mother. She didn't tell her in so many words. She's like, "I'll let Tia tell you herself," but she's going through a really hard time. But it even makes me think of like, were they my friends? Because they actually watched it happen too, you know? So
Yeah.
that's just why I'm so sensitive about it. And it's not even sensitive. I feel very strongly about it, because even though even that voices lady that's been saying horrible things about me, all I'm looking at it as is, what if somebody that takes chemo and don't have eyebrows and they draw their eyebrows on,
Yeah.
like, that could be so hurtful to them.
Right.
You
I
have to
know.
think before you open your mouth and say those kinds of things. And what is the point of saying anything anyway? If you don't like me, then announce to the world that you just don't like me.
And
Okay?
move on.
And
Yeah.
move on. You don't have to sit there and say her brows are this and her friends are not good friends to her because they don't tell her that her brows look like shit. I'm just like, what the like, what in the hell?
Well,
It's
and I
just
think the thing too is that people are afraid to speak up because
mhm,
they see how psycho and take it for example adults, in the YouTube community.
mhm,
You'll maybe have people that are like, man, what happens in this, you know, live stream or whatever is kind of shitty. It's kind of
yeah,
gross. But I'm
mhm,
not going to sing because I don't want to be singled out and I don't want to be the next
right,
target or,
right,
and I don't blame them. I mean, who
exactly,
wants to have somebody go real life on them or who wants to
mhm,
have yes called on? Nobody does. Like,
nobody, yeah.
so why
Some
would
people might
anybody?
be afraid to say something. You're right.
Yeah, and it sucks. I mean, it sucks that it has to be that way, but I don't know. So, just anyway, that was my 2 cents. So, I'm going to hop off in case somebody else wants to come. But thanks
Thank you
again
so
for
much for
sharing
coming up, babe.
and being vulnerable. And we love you, and you're beautiful. And fuck the haters. Bye.
Bye, love you. She cracks me up. Thank you, Vivian, for being here. I appreciate it. Um, if anybody else, okay, yay, Boston's up. I'd love to hear what she's gonna have to say. Hey, Boston.
I love you.
I love you too, sweetie.
Oh, that was really hard for me. Um,
It's I know, but
I'm sure it was hard for you, but I was just like, oh, I just want to hug you.
yeah, I didn't know
Um,
it was gonna be that hard, but I just don't want
but
anybody else to feel that way that I felt. That's all.
that that pain. What happens when you're growing up? I think can affect you in one of two ways. I think if you go through a bullying experience, which I mean, as far as this chat goes, there have been so many people sharing their stories tonight in chat. And I was relentlessly bullied as well,
Mm-hmm.
in middle school and the first few years of high school. And I don't know, I'm seeing this kind of connection with people that have gone through bullying being more empathetic people and feeling that pain, just like you said it perfectly, that I'm crying right now because I know that there are people who are enduring the pain that I endured right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us in this,
It
I'm going to
makes you
call it
upset.
a community. I'm going to call it
Mhm.
a community because I think it's clear that, you know, there's sides here. And I think that the community that we're kind of getting to know and being a part of are a bunch of people who have that empathy. You don't, and I've said this so many times before, you don't have to do something to me personally for me to react and for me to feel anger or hurt or all those feelings for the other person who is going through it. You know, it doesn't have to be done to me because it was done to me.
Yeah.
I never say that part, but that's the important part that I think maybe a lot of us have in common, is that this was done to us. It does last within you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And it's what you choose to do with it. And what I was starting to say was, I think that there's two paths people can take when they get bullied, because I think everyone goes through it. One path is that you can grow up and you can become an empathetic person. You can fight for other people. You can support other people when you see bullying happen. You can try to stop it. And the others are the people who maybe went through a bullying experience and they go on a different path. They see bullying happening, they become part of the problem because they don't want it to happen to them.
Right. Right. I agree. And I think even going through that, it kind of, um, it triggers me, like, kind of like PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a very traumatic thing to go through. And, and it doesn't matter what age you are. For some people, it it just bothers me when people say, you know, get thick skin and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
toughen up. This is YouTube, and people are going to talk about you, blah 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 blah. I get all that. I understand all that, and 100% prepared for that. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I'm going to accept it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to keep my mouth shut and turn a blind eye to it and say, oh, well, it's not happening to me, so I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? That's just not me. If I see something wrong, I'm going to say something, because it wasn't done for me.
Right.
It wasn't done for me
Right.
until my mother stepped in.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that I am very empathetic to people who go through that and that kind of pain. And some people handle it differently than others. And it does not mean that you're not a strong person. And it doesn't mean that you should stop chasing your dream just because you have to prepare for it and get used to it or whatever. Some people never had to go through bullying until they came to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not everyone has had to endure bullying, and that's great. That's a blessing. But I'm sure we have all endured it at one time in our life, and there's a lot of people who are enduring it right now. And that still does not mean that I'm going to just forget about it and be like, oh, well, they're not doing it to me. To me, that's selfish in a lot of ways. And it just wouldn't make me a good person to me. Like, I don't know. I don't,
Yeah.
and it's happened to me. Like, I've dealt with it. You know what that other creator did. You know what's happened. So, and even that was triggering, not triggering to a point where I give a shit about her or what she says, because I proved her wrong about everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
If
there's still people in the comments, just like how I was in high school, saying,
Mhm.
she's this, she's that, and then she's saying all these horrible things. And it's definitely a triggering point where you're just like, wow, I could think back in high school when that used to happen to me. And now I could laugh. But that's me. I've been through it. I know what it feels like. I've heard it all before. But for somebody else to be bashed and body shamed and all those kinds of things, they may handle it differently and they're not going to laugh and it's going to be hurtful to them. And they're going to be sitting there thinking, wow, like, am I this horrible person? Am I this? Am I really this fat like this girl saying that I am? You know, like, it's just horrible.
Yeah, and you said something, and Heather said it too. Now you can laugh at your experiences. I think it's important to just remind yourself that you went through trauma. And I think that it's important that people understand that when people say, yeah, I can laugh at that now. Like, I mean, we all say it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is actually just a coping mechanism that we've learned over the years, you know, and the years go by and you can laugh at it. You can, but
Right.
it's a coping mechanism to deal with trauma. So, you know, don't discount that either. You went through trauma. You had a traumatic experience. Heather, you did too. I mean, so many people in this chat, I'm so sorry for what Broken Justice has gone through.
Yeah.
For Larry's story that he shared. I mean, there's so many people that have shared their experiences. It is trauma, and yeah, it's like Jenny said, it's a trauma response to laugh at it. And it's good because that's a good thing to do, to laugh at it as the years go by. And I'm not saying that you're like lying and it really hurts you and you're just saying, oh, I just laugh at it. Like, I know you probably are really laughing at it, but just remind yourself that you went through a traumatic experience. You learned a way to cope with it. That was your response to the trauma. Now you can laugh at it.
Right.
I'm glad that you guys can laugh at it now. I can laugh at my trauma as well. That's great. But it's still there and it's still lifelong. And that's what these people, these grown adults on YouTube do not, I don't know if they really grasp that what they are doing now, even though they're doing it to adults and not children, what they are doing now to these people can have lifelong effects. It really, really can.
Right.
And just the lines that have been crossed today, like.
Yes. Yeah, I know that you definitely want to express your opinion about that, and we're all listening.
So I can express my opinion about it?
Absolutely.
I just did a big woosah breath.
No, it's okay.
For someone to act like it's just no big deal, just another YouTube live, we're just chatting and talking shit, to share information and make it fit your own narrative and not even be true information, to make it fit your own narrative, to make assumptions, and to share that with a live that gets thousands of views about another person's CPS report is one of the lowest things that I have ever seen an adult do to another adult on YouTube. I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
And there are things that are just as bad. But a CPS report, that stands for Child Protective Services. That is somebody's child or children, and you are telling the world that they are an unfit parent, and you know nothing about what happened.
Right.
And you're saying on the live, oh, well, this is you know, they wouldn't make a report unless something happened. They don't do that. Every state is different. You don't know everything. And everything coming out of your mouth is toxic. It's slander. I mean, I just want to reach out to this girl that this is being done to and just let her know that we're all here. I hope she knows that there's a whole big group that is here to support her, but I don't know how we stop this. And it really pushed me over the edge today. It really did.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody should know about that. That's definitely something that she should have kept to herself. If I don't. How did she know that though? How
Well,
is that public?
it is now
Okay.
because she asked specific people if they could share it because
Mm-hmm.
because she felt the need in the first place to have it shared and have it public
Right. Right.
because she knew that. And again, she assumes. I
Yeah.
I think she said she kind of got the impression from CPS when she asked if it was, a report having to do with YouTube, and I think she got the impression that yeah, that was the case. She did admit she doesn't know for sure, but she
Mm-hmm.
felt the need. She felt harassed and bullied because she has been being harassed and bullied for a long time now. And
Yeah.
she felt the need. She was pushed to the point that she needed to share it. She asked 3 people that she trusts to share it.
Mm-hmm.
One of those people obviously was not trustworthy and brought it right over to Natasha. So I have to say
Really?
that the person
Was
who
that
did
what
that,
happened?
yeah, so I have to say that the person who did that, if you're listening, you are just as bad and just as culpable and just as disgusting for taking that information and sharing it with somebody that was going to blast it online and talk about it.
So, because so somebody got that information from somebody else, from her, right? She gave
Mm-hmm.
it to somebody, 3 people that she thought she could trust.
Right.
She knew what 2 of them were going to do with it.
Yeah.
But this person gave it to that creator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that creator read it out. Did she?
Well, she didn't actually read it out. That's the sick part. She said she has it, and then she said it has nothing to do with YouTube. It says that, YouTube's not involved. It was the neighbors, all the stuff that was not on the report. That was just a flat out lie.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then somehow decided she was going to twit when she saw that the people that the other creator wanted to share the information, um, when she saw that those people, oh, they just shared the information, she twisted it around that these people are sharing the information against her wishes and exploiting her. When
Right.
she's the one who is literally exploiting her, who
Mm-hmm.
literally had no permission to share the information, who also twisted the information,
Mm-hmm.
um, and implied that the report was fat, like that this was, they always, when CPS makes a report, they, from what I've read or understand, and I guess it could change state to state, I'm not sure, but from what I was able to read today, when they make a report, they get the call, they go, they have to make a report, right? It
Right. Right.
doesn't mean that they've determined that those whatever happened actually happened and it's the truth. They
Right.
have to get the parent to say, here's my plan, like here's what I do to make sure my kids are supervised and blah blah blah, and they write it all down, and okay, great, we know that you're aware that this is what you do to take care of your children, we've talked to you
Mm-hmm.
about it, goodbye. It does not mean that that parent is guilty of what they're being accused of, and it does not mean, and no one is ever listed as, it's an anonymous report, so you don't know who reported it. So for her to say it was the neighbors,
Right.
nobody on YouTube, like that was nowhere in the report. That was
Right.
just trash coming out of your mouth. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry I'm going over the line. I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for this, but I'm
No. No.
calling it out because it's wrong
Yeah.
in so many ways. And for anyone to sit there on their high horse and think that that's okay. This is just a drama channel. We can just bring up whatever we want to bring up. I need to clear my name, even though nobody accused you.
Yeah.
Go back and listen. Go back and listen to the live Tia did last night where we actually played the clip where she
Right.
said, I'm not saying that it was this person or that person or that person. I don't
Right.
know who it was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And
I'm sorry.
I'm sure she doesn't. She might have some ideas of who she thinks it is, but she don't know who it is. It's anonymous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And tell us how you really feel, Boston.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. I completely understand. And there's another thing that I wanted to get straight to before we end this. If you go on somebody's panel with a wig, that's a fro, and you say you're going to the hairdresser with this person's family who happens to be Black, and you're going to go get your hair done, or whatever the heck she said, you're going to go get your hair done no matter what. That was a racial, microaggressive remark. There's no excuse for it. I don't care what your background is. And you're not going to tell me that it wasn't. You're not going to tell me as a Black woman that that was not crossing a line. Okay? Because it was. I don't think that anyone, anyone should have to endure giving personal information to somebody that they thought that they could trust, and then that information going to somebody else. What's the point in reading it? What is the point of, putting that information out there? Because I can almost guarantee if that was to happen to that person, if the tables were turned, I'm pretty sure she would be very upset about that. Okay? But I don't like it when people backtrack and say, first of all, this person admitted that it was wrong. She did apologize. I did not see the apology, whatever, but I did hear that she apologized and admitted that what she did was wrong. But now you're backtracking and saying that it wasn't wrong? No. That was not an appropriate thing to do, and it was very racist, okay, in my personal opinion.
It wasn't even a microaggression. Yeah, it was racist.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it was
it's like blackface.
right.
To me, it's to put an afro on and imply that it's because you went to a Black hair salon to get a hairdo with other Black people, and to make fun of that. And they're trying to make fun of the person they're making fun of in the first place is a person who is actually working with a Black family to try to help them because their son may be wrongfully convicted of a crime. Now, I don't know if that son is or not, but I can tell you how many Black men are sitting in prison right now who are wrongfully convicted for a crime. It is absurd. The numbers, I have to look them up for the next live that we do on racism, but the number of Black men sitting in jail right now who are innocent is ridiculous. It's a problem. It's been going on for decades, and there are people trying to fight it and people trying to help it, and that is what this other creator is trying to do. She's trying to help that, so let's make fun of her being a white girl trying to help a Black family. It's disgusting.
You're not going to sit here. First of all, if it wasn't wrong, then why did you apologize in the first place if it wasn't wrong? And now, because of the clip that I seen, that I guess maybe she's Jewish. I have no idea. But that doesn't exclude you from the remark that you made, and the remark that you made was racist. Okay? And you're not going to tell me that as a Black woman that it wasn't, because it was. And my problem is that you apologize for it, but now you're taking the apology back because of your heritage, and because what your heritage is, that excludes you from making a racial comment.
Oh, I
Because
didn't hear that.
let me tell you something. Um, all Black people don't have the same hair. We all have different hair. We all have, it's not all of us have coarse hair. Some of us have silky hair, wavy hair, different types of hair. We don't all have the same hair. So that is exactly why that was a racial comment. Okay. And to make fun of that, what I'm saying is, how do you apologize for that? So obviously you didn't mean your apology, because now you're making excuses for yourself. And I don't like that. And I don't stand with that. And that's the problem. But I guess I'm
So
playing the race card right now. That's what I'm doing.
the race, the magical race card. Yes, yes,
Magical
that
race
doesn't
card.
exist. That does not exist in the first place.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So she's saying that because I didn't hear that. So she's saying that because of her heritage, I'm assuming that means that she is a person of color or has
I'm
a
not,
background. Because listen, this was the same excuse that another creator who said a bunch of microaggressions against you, said that she is a person of color, so it's not racist.
Right.
Listen, the racism between people of people of color is real. It does exist.
Yes.
It happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Asians to Black people and vice versa, and Hispanic people, and they all do it to each other.
Yeah.
Just because you are not white does not mean that you cannot be a racist.
Racist. Exactly.
That's just ignorant to think otherwise, in my opinion. I'm gonna hop down because I'm really heated right now.
And that's okay. That's okay.
So I'm gonna excuse myself. I just want to I don't want to say anything out of line, but I freaking love you. And
I'm glad you came up here. I appreciate you as a mod and as a friend, and standing up for what you believe in. It's not ever easy, Boston. It's not. And it's not even about backlash or anything like that. You have a right to your opinion. And you also have your right to educate people as well. And that's what you just did up here. You educated people, and then you also gave your opinion, because you, being the person that you are that has empathy, can you imagine your CPS report being read to somebody?
nope. And I don't even have kids, and that broke my heart.
Right. And I just want to say, while you're up here, I don't know Amanda. The only thing that I know about Amanda is you can tell that she has had a very hard life. Okay. And the only advice that I would ever give Amanda is if you don't want them talking about you, and you don't want these kinds of things happening, then don't talk about them. But ultimately, even if she was to talk about whatever, she doesn't deserve that. Nobody does. And I would like to see how anybody else as a creator would handle that if the CPS was called on them and somebody was reading that out publicly. Okay. I understand why you feel the way that you feel, Boston, and I'm glad that you expressed your opinion. I want to tell you that I am very proud of you. I'm proud of how much you are standing up for what's right. I'm proud of that. and I'm proud to have you as a mod. I think you're starting to be a lot more vocal, and I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with that. If I feel like you're crossing the line to something that I'm going to get backlash for and that I'm concerned about, I would stop you and say, "Okay, Boston, that's enough. Get off panel, cool off." You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
I want you to express your opinion just like I want everyone else to express their opinion as well. And I'm proud of you for being strong, standing your ground, and seeing things and opening your mouth and saying something. Okay?
Girl, everything you just said to me, you're going to make me cry. Everything you just said to me, I feel the exact same way about you. I'm so freaking proud of you. For
Thank you.
literally everything you just said to me, standing up to what is wrong, expressing your opinion.
It's not easy.
Educating people. You educate people every freaking night on here.
I try to.
I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud to call you a friend.
Me too.
And
very proud of how vocal you've been, how you've been taking a stand. You have been very vocal. Let's not.
I have been. I have been. I just can't. I can't sit back. And, it's that struggle because as a mod, you don't want to ever, have backlash. Because I know, like, whatever I say, the backlash is gonna come to Tia. I mean, we're connected. We're her mods. I don't want that to, ever happen. I don't ever want to be the cause for that.
Like I said, I can handle it. There is just a part, like I said, if I feel like you're going in a different direction, I would say, Boston, okay, time to get off panel. Let's go ahead and calm down a little bit. But I am very proud of how vocal and how you are standing up for what's right. It's never easy to stand up for what's right. It's not easy, but somebody's got to do it. And I'm not saying I'm some savior in the community, and that all I'm saying is that it's happening to a lot of people. It's even happened to Boston. It's happening with me. It's happened with my other mom. It has happened. And all I'm saying is, why can't we all just either get along or go our separate ways and not talk about one another? It's not hard. But I guess for some people, it's more hard than others, right?
Well, at this point, for me, Tia, it's not even about going our separate ways. It's not even about that for me. At this point, for me, it's how do we... They don't want to listen, obviously, to the constructive criticism or being told what to do. It's their channel, blah, blah, blah. I get that, right? But how do we stop this from happening? Because I am concerned about other people, and I'm concerned that someone is going to get pushed too far. I see it happening. I have a feeling. I just have this gut feeling that it's just I've seen it grown for the past few months. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And how do we all think this is going to end? It's not going to end well until someone steps up, takes accountability, admits they're wrong, and stops doing what they're doing to these people and to each other. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. I agree. People need to agree to, like, because in these situations, it's the nonstop back and forth and the fighting, and they did this. Well, I'm doing this because they did this to me, and she accused me of this, so I need to clear my name. I mean, just stop it. Period. Go your separate ways.
And just look at this girl right here. Unmasked. Do you see her?
Oh, she's gorgeous. Yeah, I love her.
They make me like,
oh,
how could they ever say anything about her? Like, she's so freaking pretty. Like, it's just ridiculous to me. Like, I don't know what it is. All I want to do is uplift women. That's all I want to do on this channel.
Amen.
Okay, men, fine, whatever. They don't have it as hard as women. We as women have it fucking hard. We have to, oops, stupid battery. We have to freaking clean and all that kind of stuff. We have to have a whole human being, right? Not all of us, and We're always judged. We have the media telling us what we're supposed to look like, and we have to look like the Kardashians or beyond. We just have so much pressure as women, and all I want to do is make women feel beautiful and know that they can do anything you want to do. You can do it. You want to be a stay-at-home mom? Trust me, it's not easy. Okay, it's probably the most hardest job in the world. I'm telling you, like, it is. You want to be a stay-at-home mom, be a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't make you any less of a stronger person than a woman that gets out there and work. Whatever. You want to start your channel. You want to be a lawyer. You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to be whatever. You could do it. That's all I want to do. But it's so hard to do that and ignore other things that are going on and seeing people hurt. And that is the only reason why I got so emotional, because I know how I felt, and that feeling can happen to anybody, not just teenagers, not because I was just young. It can happen to anybody. Anybody could feel that alone when they feel like they're being attacked by a group of people, a big group of people that hate them, and that's leaving them messages and threatening them and saying all kinds of horrible things. Like, it just, I'm not going to keep quiet about it.
No, and we need a bigger group. We need a bigger group of people who are not going to keep quiet, who are not going to let people be treated that way, who are going to stand up for the people who are being hurt and who are being bullied and who are being harassed. I think, someone said it earlier there. Oh my gosh, what's the term? Something in numbers. Power in numbers. Is that the term?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that eluded me, but yeah, there's power in numbers. It's nice to know that if you're going through this, or you're about to go through it, or someone's starting to attack, and based on the history that you're probably going to be relentlessly attacked and talked about, and have your life just, shared and dissected all over social media, it's nice to know that there's a group of people who aren't going to put up with it and who have your back. So
I agree.
I like to hope that
I agree
we're
to
part
that.
of that group of people.
I agree to that to a certain extent. I don't believe that you have to have a huge number to make a statement. I feel like it's about the people, how loud the people are in that bigger group or that smaller group, if that makes sense. I believe that it could be 15 against 2, and that 2 can win against that 15 if those 2 are determined enough and strong enough to withhold or to handle what they're going to have to endure, if that makes sense. I understand the bigger the number, the more people will listen, but I also believe that it takes a really strong person, stronger than bullies. Let's just put it that way. It takes a really strong person to do what you're doing, Boston, or to do what I'm doing. It definitely takes a strong person to let yourself be vulnerable in front of 30, 40 people. That's not easy. I just feel like it's not always in the numbers. I believe that it's about the people who are speaking and how loud they're willing to speak and how far they're willing to go.
Absolutely. That was perfectly worded. Absolutely.
But and just like what Dave said, the problem is no one will ever know, because to be honest with you, and I agree with this, Dave, the person who hurts the most has the biggest smile.
Yep.
And I think about Robin Williams when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
This man spent his life making people laugh, and he was so sad for a good amount of his life, right? Nobody seen it coming, okay? And also, I wanted to read what Broken Justice said. In my opinion, I think that we should put up this wall and shut them out And when I go after someone, we rally around them. I just believe in you shut them out, you shut them up. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that comment by Dave was really powerful, actually. That kind of, I was
Mm-hmm.
reading that and kind of stepped back, like, that's so, so true. And I think that,
I agree. I'm asked.
hold on. I want to stop. Yeah, exactly. And there's a certain there is a creator who does laugh a lot and make a lot of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I'm really worried for that creator.
I'm trying to think of who you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Okay, never mind. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
really worried for that creator because it does remind me of what you just said, that they
Yeah.
laugh the most. The people that are the most depressed or have the most hurt are
Have the
often the
biggest
ones that, what we were talking about earlier, we can laugh about it now, right? That's a
right.
coping mechanism. It is a coping mechanism.
It is.
So yeah, I worry. And that might not be the case. That might not be the case. They could just really be laughing and really,
Right.
but I mean, what's been happening to that creator has been absolutely relentless. And I can't imagine it. I mean,
Right.
I talk to someone every day now who I've becoming friends with, who has also been relentlessly just being talked about,
Mm-hmm.
bullied, harassed,
Yes.
and it wears on you when you don't see any end in sight. It really does. So I think, yeah, the most important thing we can do is stand together and show these people that are going through this that they aren't alone, and
Mm-hmm.
that we want to stop. We want this to stop. We want this to stop. I'm literally begging. I mean, I know I'm just going to be ripped apart if a certain person is watching this or does watch this, but I'm begging you, and I'm begging the other people involved to please just, put down your weapons. Put down your weapons. Step away. Start a new channel. Erase your channel. Start a new one. Do something positive and uplifting. Maybe do some raffles where the money can go to a good cause or
Right.
charity. Just do good things.
Right.
Tia is here, like she said, her only reason for wanting to even be here on YouTube is just to make women feel beautiful and feel powerful and lift people up. And that's an amazing thing. Why can't there be more channels that are going to have those kind of intentions, instead of
Right.
a channel that is creating drama, engaging in drama? And they're all going to say, oh, well, you guys, all you talk about is drama. Yeah, we're not talking about drama for views. We're not talking about drama for money. We're not talking about drama because we think it's fun and entertaining. We're talking about it to try to stop it, because
Right.
we've all had enough. Enough is enough. And with
Yeah.
that, I am going to hop down.
Okay.
And I love you so, so much. And everyone in the chat, I appreciate every single one of you. And I'm happy to be getting to know a lot of you. And let's just keep up the good work, everybody.
Right.
Keep your heads up, and continue to just support those that need us right now, I think and call it out when you see it. And just try to do it in a way that's going to be productive is my advice. So, all right.
Right.
Love you guys.
Love you. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you for having me.
I'll talk to you in a minute, I'm sure. Okay, you guys. That was not easy for me to talk about, but I'm glad that I did. I think you guys are amazing. You always make me feel happy and supported, and I appreciate every single one of you. I just felt like it was a story that needed to be shared right now, and maybe it can help somebody else. If you are tilt this a little bit. We're always on here so late, but I promise that's going to change eventually. I'm a night owl, you guys, but if any of you guys are going through any kind of, you know, bullying, whatever, if you need somebody to talk to, you can always reach out to me. There are 1-800 numbers that my mods are putting in the chat. Sorry for any comments that I've missed. I'm going to read some comments right now, but I do want to tell you guys that you're not alone. I've been there. A majority of people have been there. And I know that how alone it can feel. And if you need me, I'm here. All my social media platforms are on my About section. I want to read some of these comments before I end this. Yes, Alex is amazing. Literally amazing. She's a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful person. They're trying to twist it. What we are trying to do, let me pin that. It's easier to read it when it's pinned. What we are trying to do, and we are just trying to make it stop. And they have the nerve to say, we are the ones that need to stop. Unbelievable. Yes. Like I said, Melissa and I have always been friends, but because I'm standing by her, yes, Melissa is a great friend of mine, and I'm really glad that I met her. These conversations are vitally needed. I agree, Menu Frog. I 100% agree. There's no changing them, in my opinion. There's only finding solutions to make it stop. Amen. Unmasked. And I don't know if you were here when I thanked you guys for saying or mentioning my channel. I really appreciate it. Like, I seriously do. I try to watch you guys every chance I get. You guys are amazing. And thank you for doing that. Like, I was so like flattered when you guys did that. So thank you so much. Broken Justice says, and we have a wonderful group here. We are growing by the minute. We really are growing. We are going to be bigger than they. Our hearts are already bigger than that. I agree, Broken Justice. You guys really do make me smile. They cannot be changed. And by staying silent, they have not stopped. But standing together, I really believe that we can make a difference. I 100% agree. Hold on. Allie and Melissa, both. What sticks out to me, the first thing Melissa said was, I'm not a victim. I don't even want to do this. And they lied and twisted. Yes, they did. I genuinely appreciate all of you so much. I do too. Thanks for doing this live, Tia. Thank you, KNS. Great. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm not in Discord. One day when I get what do you call those things? The membership thing, I will do a Discord. Okay? I will do that. Because that is actually a really good idea. We appreciate you. I look forward to getting to know you better. Me too, Unmasked. Yes, definitely message me. I think you're amazing. I think your channel is amazing. I think it's awesome how you rise above all of this, but at the same time you still care and you want it to stop. And I really do feel like, listen, I'm gonna say this like one last time. I don't hate anybody, and I don't dislike Natasha. I think that there's a lot of things that she could be doing differently. I think that we all want to stand up for ourselves when people are mentioning our name or when people are talking about us and different things like that. I get it. And I think it's very obvious that people talk about her too. But here's what needs to be addressed here. People talk about you, but okay, let me just give you guys an example. You're on my channel. You come up on my panel to defend yourself. Everything's fine. You get off my channel. You didn't like what was happening in the chat. You didn't like the things that were being said about you in the chat, which is very hypocritical because people were saying your people followed you over to my channel and were saying mean things too. A lot of people were saying mean things, and I'm sure my mods could vouch for that as well. You're saying that you would never let anybody disrespect me like that if I was on your panel, but here's the thing. I'm not you. You're not me, obviously. I don't have people who dislike me as much as you go through that for whatever reason. So therefore, there may be some people in the comments that may say mean things, but that was not a planned. To me, you weren't even a guest. And then after that, you tell your people that you're unsubscribing from me, that you don't want anything to do with me. You made fun of how many subscribers I have. You made fun of how many people watch me. So you tell me, okay? You tell me, how is that right? How is it right that you didn't like what was going on my panel, and instead of contacting me personally, you said in front of your 400 people that watch you that you want nothing to do with me, made it a point to make fun of how many people watch me and how many subscribers I have. So you tell me, is that defending yourself? Were you defending yourself against me? Or was that you bashing me? All because you didn't like what happened when you were on my panel. I didn't bash you. I was respectful to you. I can't control what goes on in my comment section, even though you said that's not an excuse. But yet you say that you can't control what goes on in your. All I'm saying, what boils down to it, you didn't have to go that route. You didn't have to do what you did, but you did. And that's not defending yourself. I didn't do anything to you. I didn't do anything to you personally. We were cool when you left the panel, and then the next day, you bashed me. So you tell me, how is that defending yourself? That's not defending yourself. So you keep saying, all of you people keep talking about what I do to other people, but what about what they do to me? I get it. It's wrong if anybody body shames you, says horrible things about you, okay? But I didn't say anything horrible about you. You still bashed me. All I'm saying is that I understand that people are hurt, and I understand that this specific creator may be hurt, but you cannot continue to walk around saying because people do things to you, you're going to do that to other people. At some point, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. And as far as the memes, I don't really pay attention to memes, and I haven't really seen memes, but I did hear that there was some memes made. But you do parodies. So, Cheryl Stacy Lynn, she is now a sub member of MC. Who's those people? Do I know those people? Of course, she's not going to go on anyone's panel unless her mob is there to protect her. Someone could literally write a book about hypocrisy and gaslighting and use her channel as the entire content. I can't remember the name of the lady that was on panel with her, but she let another lady rip her to shreds. Does anyone remember this? Who was it? I don't know. I think I remember what you're talking about, Cheryl. But all I'm saying is that I didn't do anything to you, and you still bashed me. So the thing is, and I'm not going to do that to you. I would never do that to you. You can make fun of my subscribers and, you know, how many people watch me and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. But what I'm saying is that it's not right. And you can't use an excuse of I did something to you because I didn't do anything to you. I personally didn't do anything to you. So how does that excuse the things that you go? The thing is that at some point, somebody's got to take responsibility here for their own actions, right? And, you know, I just don't understand why things have to happen the way that it's happening. And just like I said, if I was a very sensitive person, that would have hurt me because I liked Natasha. You know what I'm saying? So listening to that would have hurt me. But it didn't hurt me because I've seen her do that to other people. So why wouldn't she do that to me, right? Let me read some more comments before I wrap this up. They ripped SL. Who the hell? Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know you're talking about all the time. I feel like she doesn't even realize it. It's heartbreaking. It is. Hi, Buttercup. There wasn't a lot of bashing in your chat that night, Tia. People were mostly saying she has attacked them or on her channel for just asking a question, disagreeing, liking someone. Yeah, I went back to the chat and I really didn't see a lot of people make like bashing her. And I would think that maybe some comments would have gotten past my mods because, you know, you're only one person and there was only 2 mods. And when she came over, a lot of her supporters came over with her. It was unexpected. So there was only 2 mods in the chat. Was it Melissa? I don't know. I know I modded Melissa, and then Boston was up on panel, Heather was up on panel, and then I think it was another one of my mods, and yeah, there was only 2 mods, and then I think I modded someone else, but she had to go. So there was 2 mods in here. The chat was going crazy, so maybe there's some comments that may have gotten past my mods, but at the same time, no. They wouldn't have let like horrible things be said in the chat about her, especially like, no. Your moderators handled the chat well that night. Thank you so much. Yes, everybody, we got to go to bed. Thank you, Trixie. We all got to go to bed. And I know I have to talk to my mods when this is over. So I love you guys. You guys are amazing. That wasn't easy to talk about. I do apologize that I got emotional. That's not, I don't know, that just came out of nowhere, but it has been a long time since I've talked about this. And all I can think about is back just the way I felt and the way my mother felt and things that I missed out on because, you know, I was afraid I was going to get jumped or any, you know, things like that. It was a horrible time for me, a very traumatic time for me in my life. So I just started thinking about that and I got emotional and I apologize for that. I didn't mean to get emotional, you guys. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make anybody, you know, get upset, but I love y'all. Y'all are always amazing. You guys always make me feel so great. I appreciate you guys. Oh, 4 a.m. It was worth it. Oh, thank you, KNS. You know, I'll be up until freaking like 5:30, 6. I stay up late. I like to enjoy the quietness. But this was an amazing live. It was great to be able to talk to you guys about this. Thank you so much for being here, Unmasked. I hope to see you again. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys all for coming. I appreciate you guys. I will be live tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to continue talking about this bully thing. We might not. We'll see what happens. But I will be live for sure tomorrow. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. Get some sleep. It's different times for everyone. Thanks everyone for being so kind and respectful, sharing your thoughts and spending your time with us. Please take care and stay safe. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you to my amazing mods for being wonderful as always. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have an amazing night.